Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to another edition of the Mark Medley Show. Haven't been on Spreaker in a little while, and so I'm glad to be back, glad to be able to share this with you. Actually, what I'm about to share with you was to be a speech that I was to deliver yesterday to a City League athletic football team. It was their awards banquet on yesterday afternoon, which was to be March the 4th. However, it had to be postponed and rescheduled for April the 8th. So I thought I would deliver the words here on this show, even though I'm going to give the same words at the speech on April the 8th. The title of it is, Education Must Become Job One. And again, these were the words I was going to deliver yesterday to a City League football team, to a bunch of youngsters. But the message is for the adults as well. In the summer of 1981, quality is job one, quote unquote, became Ford's calling card in marketing. Before the Ford campaign, job one, quote unquote, meant something very different, as job one referred to the first of a new or redesigned model that rolled off the assembly line. The priority at that time was, don't worry what the car is like, just get it out on time. In 1978, a year before he became CEO of the company, Ford president at that time, Philip Caldwell, wrote a note to himself before a meeting. And the note said, quality number one, quote unquote. Not knowing that that note would become the popular advertising campaign, the meaning was clear. Ford took the issue of quality seriously, and quality was going to be built in, not just inspected in, at the end of the production process. I'm going to speak to you for a few minutes about our making education job one. Dr. Oscar Dowdell Underwood, in his book Bumblebees Can Fly, Empowering Young Men of Color, says, quote, consider the statistics according to the U.S. Census Bureau. 41% of all U.S. children are born to unmarried mothers. The implications are staggering. 35.7% Caucasian children, 68.5% Native American and Alaskan children, and 72.3% of African American children are born in homes without fathers. Because the dismal plight of young men of color is directly associated with their experiences of fatherlessness early in life, it must be addressed in any serious attempts to bring about meaningful improvement. It is important to understand that fatherlessness has reached epidemic proportions that threaten to further marginalize future young men and women who grow up in a home without a father. Fatherlessness influence and impacts several other phenomena that have become serious human health and human rights concerns. Children without fathers in the homes are 5 times more likely to live in poverty than those raised by 2 married parents. Nearly 1/3 of single female-led households live in poverty versus 16.9% of single male-led households and only 5.8% of 2-parent married homes. Women are remarkable, resilient, and worthy of much praise for all they do. But single-parent homes have not always been the norm. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 78% of all African American households were led by 2-parent married couples in the 1950s, as opposed to 28.7% today. The breakdown of the family, especially in the lives of young men of color, is seriously tied to their dismal achievement, lack of success, and overall plight in America. The CDC has revealed that infant mortality among children of unmarried women increases 78% compared to children in homes with 2 married parents. Youth, including young men of color who are without fathers in their homes, are twice as likely to drop out of school. They are also at much higher risk of low achievement, crime, incarceration, and drug trafficking, as well as substance abuse, teenage pregnancy, and the perpetuation of historical cycle of generational poverty. America must understand that the very future of our nation and its people is tied to the stabilization of the crisis concerning young men of color. I've served in Patterson Public Schools my entire career in education. I taught at school number 6 from 2000 until 2005. Served as vice principal at school 27 from 2005 to 2006. Served as vice principal at school number 10 from 2006 until 2009. As principal of school 10 from 2009 to 2011. As principal of school 28 from 2011 to 2013. And as principal of the Dr. Frank Napier Jr. School of Technology from 2013 until this present time. For those of you not listening in the Patterson area, you would not understand the pattern. But those of you who are listening who live in the Patterson area, I'm sure you've noticed the pattern of what I just spoke about in terms of the schools I've served in. The statistics that I just read to you in Dr. Underwood's book are real, and it is up to us to change it. And the only way that we're going to change those horrid numbers is by making education job one. We must begin to take education seriously, just as Ford did with quality. Education must be built in, quote unquote, not just suffered through, with the result being our socially promoting students at the end of kindergarten through 12th grade process. We must move beyond the notion of, quote, don't worry what the student knows, just get him or her to the next grade level, unquote. Every year I sign off on diplomas that read, this certifies that you put whatever name in the blank you like, has satisfactorily completed the course of study prescribed by the Board of Education and is therefore awarded this diploma in witness thereof. Knowing in my heart of hearts that too many of my students have not satisfactorily met the requirements because education was not priority or job one in their homes. I share with people all of the time that we too often jump or look forward to the celebration without having put in the perspiration. The gathering that I was going to address on yesterday again of our City League athletes was filled, or was going to be filled, and will be filled on April 8th with football players and coaches who will be the first to tell you and use that old cliche that there is no gain without pain. What this means is you don't win titles. You don't win championships by taking it easy or making a bunch of excuses. Yet we are willing to do just that with our education. We won't read. We won't do our homework. We won't study or take notes. We won't pay attention in class, and yet these are the very same skills that are needed to learn a playbook and execute plays on the football field. My students at Napier Academy know that I share with them all of the time that the same skills that they use to learn their playbook are the same skills that are needed for math, science, language arts, social studies, health, computer technology, and public speaking. You learn how to read better by reading, just like you learn to catch touchdowns by catching the ball over and over again. You learn to solve math problems the same way you do blocking or tackling, by doing it over and over again. This is a wonderful occasion, or it was to be a wonderful occasion, and it's going to be a wonderful occasion that we take the time to celebrate athletics. But we must also celebrate academics, because the two go hand in hand. In most high schools and colleges, a certain grade point average must be maintained in order to play. Gone are the days of taking basket weaving and knitting in order to pass an easy course just to be on the team. High schools and colleges are expecting their athletes to take courses and majors of value and be able to achieve high grades in those courses. Not just for the sake of a high grade, but for the sake of being able to function in life, to function in society. I was at the supermarket the other day with my wife, and we were purchasing 2 whole chickens in a bag. One of the chickens had the price per pound and the bar scan code on it. The other did not. The cashier asked, how much did that cost? And my wife said, 98 cents per pound. The cashier shook her head, unsure of the price that my wife had given her, and asked, well, how much did the other one cost? Good question. Showed some thinking on her part. This is where the story gets ugly. I told her the other chicken cost $1.07 per pound. The chicken without the price on it was a little over 5 pounds, about 5 pounds. The cashier could not figure out the cost of the chicken that weighed 5 pounds and cost $1.07 per pound. She took out her iPhone and opened up the calculator and looked at it. She did not know what numbers to input. My wife then took out her phone and did the calculation for her. I walked out of the store saying, my God, what are we graduating from these schools? Remember what I said a couple of minutes ago about signing off on those diplomas? Signing off on diplomas that said that these students have met or fully met the requirements whereof in order for them to move to the next level. We must make education job one and discipline ourselves to become critical thinkers. Just as it takes discipline to play the game of football, it takes discipline to achieve in school. I shared with the building the other day, slaves were killed for trying to learn how to read, and now we are dying because we won't read. Information and knowledge is power, and a power that no one can take away from you. So for the boys who play football, who I'm going to address on April 8th, I salute them for what they do on the football field. But I challenge them and all of you to make education job one. If you are the parent of a child, education must be a top priority if they are in school. Help him or her with their homework. Go out to parent nights and report card nights. Teach your child discipline and humility. I cannot emphasize it enough as the principal of a school. Education must be job one. Just as Ford took on quality as job one, parents, please take on education being job one. Thank you for listening. This is the Mark Medley Show. More episodes to come. And again, be able to hear me live each Saturday morning as host of the Reading Circle with Mark Medley on WP 88.7 FM in northern New Jersey and all around the world on gobrave.org. That's GOBRAVE.org. As host of the Reading Circle with Mark Medley, that's where I interview authors from all around the world. So tune in on Saturday mornings, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time on gobrave.org. Again, I thank you for listening, and make education job one.